and the hotel folio that CC'd me by mistake. I was sorting my inbox the way you rake a yard you keep promising to landscape when the folio arrived. A PDF with my name on the subject line and a hotel logo I knew only from other people's honeymoons. "Thank you for staying," it said, cheerful as a bell. I hadn't stayed anywhere. I'd been home all week, being responsible about pasta and scheduled intimacy. The email had been CC'd to my work address from my personal one, which is a feat of automation I've been trying to retire from our life. I build subscription infrastructure, coupons, trials, the polite schemes that make money look like gratitude. I could tell a misconfigured loyalty profile from 20 feet. Still, when I clicked, it felt less like curiosity and more like opening a door I already knew was locked from the inside. Room 1712, 2 nights, a window service charge for Mountain View champagne, a room service breakfast with a note, extra berries, a late checkout. The folio listed a guest name, my partner. Not the one she uses at work when she wants respect quickly. The one she uses when we're with her family, a softer version, a name that makes waiters smile. Underpayment, it showed her card, and because our households are entangled, my loyalty number, which explained the CC and nothing else. At the bottom, a line too honest to be corporate. "It was a pleasure hosting your celebration." Celebration. We had nothing to celebrate except the long normal we had been practicing like a language we were finally remembering. I stared at the numbers until money turned back into math. Then I did the thing I'm trained to do. I looked for a bug. The timestamp on the PDF matched the time she'd texted me a photo of a sushi roll and a caption that said something about the team offsite being actually fun. The city listed on the folio was a smaller one, the kind of town where shops sell sweaters that want to be called fishermen. She had gone there for a conference, 2 panels, a keynote she wasn't nervous enough about, a night in a place that promised fast Wi-Fi and slow views. The door opened. Jules came in, kicked off her boots, kissed my cheek like a comma, and asked if I'd eaten. She looked good in the way competence does, hair up, coat open, a scarf thrown with intention. Jules is an architect who can stand in an empty lot and see a staircase that doesn't exist yet. I love that about her, and I also hate the part where it makes me feel solid and ruinable at the same time. "You look like you're about to sell me a subscription to regret," she said, dropping her bag. "A folio came," I said. "The hotel?" she asked, immediately understanding the level of specificity we were about to need. "Your name, my number," I said. She nodded, then did the kind of slow blink that means she's selecting a sentence with tweezers. "I thought I'd removed you from the rewards profile," she said. "I didn't think the hotel would be ambitious." "Champagne," I said, "because if you're going to quote a receipt to someone you love, you should at least make it sound ridiculous." She laughed short. "The keynote went well," she said. "They sent it up like we'd invented honesty." "We?" I asked, not because I needed a pronoun, but because I needed to hear a mouth pick one. "My panel," she said. She put her hand on my wrist, a concession, an offer, and a man I used to know how to refuse. "We have rules for this house. They are humane and difficult. Tell the truth before the room does. Don't outsource mercy to the part of you that loves drama. Stop before stopping becomes punishment." I took a breath and sat down because my knees were pretending to be older than the rest of me. "Evan," she said, "from grad school. He designs museums now. He speaks like glass knows his name." "Did you sleep with him?" I asked, because my mouth believes in efficient pain. "Not the way you mean," she said, "but we didn't leave the room as early as honesty prefers." "Extra berries," I said, because I am cruel when I'm trying to be precise. She winced, then took my hand and placed it on the back of her neck, the way you set a fragile thing where it will be safest. I did not plan it, she said, and I did not forget you while I remembered how to be made of skin. That sounds like a sentence a person uses to grant themselves a pardon. I mean it like an inventory. I came back because coming back is the only reason any of this matters. I could have delivered the lines that make men into heroes in other people's stories. I could have asked her to pack a bag so both of us could have the dignity of angles. Instead, I lifted my hand and traced my thumb along the place where her hairline makes a promise to her spine. It is the gesture that calms her or makes her braver, depending on the day. She closed her eyes and leaned into it, and the anger moved over, making room for something that felt like a longer sentence than the folio wanted to be. I don't want to be a man who interrogates receipts, I said. Then don't be, she said. Be the man whose mouth I still know. We did not perform forgiveness. We did what our rules demand, made a plan small enough to execute. 2 weeks. No hotel rooms, which felt silly to say out loud, like banning fireworks from a winter. No debugging each other's alibis with merchandise. If desire was going to audition for a part in our house, it had to do it with the lights on. The next morning, I replied to the folio with the kind of corporate kindness I reserve for companies that have made my life complicated without being wrong. Please remove secondary loyalty number, I wrote, which is the polite way of saying stop making my inbox into a witness. The hotel wrote back a minute later with a heartless thank you. Data loves you until it can't. I took a walk before work because I didn't want to sit in front of a screen and pretend surprise was a legitimate emotion. The city had decided to be bright and brittle. In a bakery window, a woman laughed with her whole face. On a bench, a man cried into a coffee like it had agreed to keep secrets. I bought croissants and, in the language of men who want to save their lives with small gestures, brought them home. Jules was at the table reading the news as if she had been hired to take it personally. I set the bag down. She looked at it like an apology I might have overpaid for. I don't want to audit you, I said. I want a lie I can live without. So here, this is butter. This is sugar. This is us choosing a breakfast that doesn't require anyone's perfect mouth. Okay, she said. We ate like a team under review but still in love with the game. The man from grad school texted 2 days later. I know because I looked when I shouldn't have. Not a covert glance. A juvenile one, the kind where you tell yourself you're only moving her phone to wipe a ring of coffee off the table and your eyes say screw it. His name on her screen made me imagine a staircase with a missing step, something you remember right after you put your foot in the air. He wrote, I owe you unromantic honesty. That weekend was selfish. It was also not a declaration. I respect what you left to go home to. She did not write back while I watched. She put the phone face down, met my eyes, and said, I'll answer later when I'm being the person I mean to be. I went to work and tried to make churn look noble. I pitched a trial flow that asked fewer questions up front and more when people had decided to stay. Don't interrogate love at the door, I said in the meeting. Let it take its shoes off first. My boss squinted like I had poured too much metaphor on the deck. Then he nodded because the numbers didn't mind poetry in small doses. Jules and I went to a wedding on Saturday, the kind of event that believes in napkins with quotes on them. During the vows, I watched her profile the way I used to study code, looking for places where logic might leak. She cried at the reasonable parts and laughed at the lines that always get a laugh. On the car ride home, she put her bare feet on the dash like a teenager and said, I hate that I let him make me want a cliché again. I said, we can have clichés if we own them. We can also put them down like a bag of flour we forgot we bought. The second week, we took a night in a hotel on purpose. Same chain, different town. I booked it with my number so the universe could stop recruiting. We drove upstate and checked into a room that smelled like new carpet and hope. We opened the window. We didn't order champagne. We did not narrate whatever we were doing. I kissed Jules the way you kiss a person whose mouth has remembered 2 alphabets and still wants yours. It wasn't graphic. It was specific, her breath catching the way it does when I find the soft place below her ear, her hand pressing the flat of my chest like a note I should have read sooner. We stopped when stopping felt like a compliment, not like prudence. I slept with my face in her shoulder and dreamed about stairs that knew where they were going. In the morning, I checked us out at the desk. The clerk smiled like a human and printed the folio. 2 names, 1 number, the math I want. We ate pancakes at a diner with cracked vinyl that made me nostalgic for mistakes that didn't require Wi-Fi. Jules held my wrist, thumbs circling idly, the way she does when she's thinking her way into a better room. "Do you want me to tell you that I've blocked him?" she said. "I want the version that will still be true in 3 months," I said. "I will not build a house with him," she said. "I will not turn weekends into seasons. If I see him again, I will tell you first. And if the part of me that liked the folio more than the room starts telling me it's brave, I will ask you to remind me which bravery we agreed to practice." "What should I do when I'm the one who wants danger for flavor?" I asked. "Text me," she said. "I have recipes." When we got home, I set up a filter so that anything from that hotel chain gets routed to a folder I named admin and forgot. It felt like an admission that I cannot help who I am, and a kindness, too. Jules threw out our old bottle of the champagne we only ever opened when we were performing luck. We kept the flutes because we like drinking water out of pretty things. The following week, the man sent a book to our door. It was not a crushing gesture paperback, a novel that had surprised both of us once. Inside, his note was the right length and the right temperature, for the staircase you keep building, for the room that doesn't need a view to be beautiful. Jules showed it to me before she put it on the shelf. "What do I do with this?" she asked. "Let it be about architecture," I said, "not about alibis." Sometimes I still wake up and feel my jaw rehearse lines I hope I won't need. Sometimes she watches me in the kitchen and I can see her deciding whether to go stand in another person's light for an hour before coming back into mine. We are not saints. We are stubborn. We keep a list on the fridge now that says mundane things: lemons, foil, laundry. And beneath, 2 that keep us honest: tell on yourself early, stop before we call it brave. Last night I found a new email from the chain. It was a marketing blast, a harmless thing with a picture of a bathtub and a ridiculous phrase about unforgettable getaways. I hovered over the unsubscribe. I didn't click it. Some reminders deserve to stay where we can see them. I forwarded it to Jules with the subject line, "No champagne, lots of pancakes," and she replied with a picture of the 2 chipped diner mugs we'd swiped as souvenirs, captioned, "Always." It isn't a fairy tale. It's logistics with devotion. When she leans against me at the sink and tips her head, I put my hand where her neck meets her shoulder and press like a man telling a story the right way this time. In order, with enough breath, and with an ending you build as you go instead of stealing from a receipt.